So in the previous video, we learned about sealed classes and sealed methods, and that kind of presents a little bit of a dilemma for us. What if we need to add some functionality onto a class, like in this case, the automobile class? You can see that it's sealed up. What if we need to extend that class somehow? How can we do it? Well, fortunately, there's another mechanism that we can use, which is kind of outside of the boundaries of inheritance. It's something, I guess, specific to C# and .NET, and yet it allows us to extend a class in a similar kind of way that we would extend using inheritance, and that's through extension methods. And so let me go ahead and give you a quick definition. Go ahead and grab an index card, and you want to copy this down or some version of it. An extension method allows you to essentially bolt methods on the side of any type, even types that are in the .NET framework, even if that type is sealed. Now, it's not inheritance, so you don't get to some of the same benefits of inheritance, but it gets you out of that bind when you need to extend a method or extend a class in a way that you can't normally do through inheritance, or you don't want to do. It doesn't have to be strictly an inheritance style relationship. So in this particular case, you can see that I have a sealed class automobile, and I want to extend this class. So what can I do? Well, I would create an extension method by starting out and creating a class. And I can call it anything I want to. There's no naming convention or anything like that. I might call it automobile extensions, and if this was a very large project, I might even add an extensions folder in my project and keep all my extensions in there just to kind of keep them separated from everything else. And so here we got a class called automobile extensions, and I want to create a public void, and I'm going to make some mistakes along the way intentionally so you can kind of impress on you what you need to do to make this work. So I'm just going to call this my extension method, like this. All right, and so far so good, right? And so this is where we're going to actually make it an extension method. We use the this keyword. Now this has a different meaning based on the context. In this specific context, this means this type, and the type that we're going to use is automobile. So we're going to use this automobile and then some identifier that we can use in the body of the method itself, and I'll just call this automobile with a lower a, all right? And so now at this point, you can see I get a red squiggly line at the class level, and it says an extension method must be defined in a non-generic static class. So forget the non-generic part. We're already non-generic. What we need to do is static. So static class automobile extensions. Now when we do that, it pops up a new issue with a red squiggly line, and it says the extension method has to be static. And that makes sense, right? Because we're going to need to use this all over the place. We don't want to be creating instances of a class or in order to use, you know, like a instance version of a method. These should all be static, and it makes a lot of sense. So let's just add not the satanic. Let's make this static. Use the static keyword there, and then we can go ahead and just do something neat like, you know, console.writeLine and something simple in this case. Now, we don't have to do something like console.writeLine. We can use any of the properties and methods of the automobile instance object, as we'll see here in a moment, but I'm just going to choose to keep it really simple for this particular example. So I was able to add an extension method. And again, in here I can use automobile dot and then, like, for example, drive, all right, if I wanted to call any of the methods and properties inside. So, well, let's just do that like that. We'll see how that works. So up here in my static void main, I've already created a new instance of automobile. And all I'll do is just go automobile dot, and now you can see that there's an extension method. Notice a little icon off to the left-hand side with a little arrow pointing down. That tells me that I'm basically using this extension method. And so, and even you can see in IntelliSense off to the right-hand side, it has extension in parentheses. And you'll see extension methods used a lot whenever you're working with collections, especially when you're working with LINQ, because pretty much everything related to LINQ to objects is extension method. The same is true with Entity Framework. So, at any rate, my extension method. And then, do I have to pass in anything? No. Well, what about this parameter, input parameter? Don't worry about that. The only reason for this is to define the type that we can utilize this extension method for, in this case, automobile. So that's all we need to do, that right there. And the compiler's doing some nifty things behind the scenes, but essentially here we were able to not only print out our console.write line that we're actually using extension method, but then also calling methods on the actual instance of the class itself, automobile is driving. Okay, so that's extension methods. It gets you out of a jam where you've got a seal class or any class, any type, and you want to add some functionality to it, even if it's in the .NET Framework class library. You can add extension methods to those methods, and it's as simple as just defining static class and a static method, using this keyword and saying which class you want to apply that static, or rather that extension method to. Okay, so you'll see these used a lot in .NET development. So make sure that you get that thought process in your head. You may even want to copy down an example of this in your card, just so you can review the exact nomenclature. But essentially, just make sure you use this keyword and then whatever type you want to use or you want to extend. All right. So that's extension methods. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.